Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to do a trigger install in the Mancraft PDiK. I'm also going to show you how to adjust the air nozzle and the engagement on the trigger itself. The tools you're going to need are a 2mm Allen key, standard Phillips screwdriver, and an adjustable wrench. The smaller the better. So to get started, we're going to use our Phillips screwdriver and remove the 3 screws that are on the gearbox shell. After that, you can remove the right side of the gearbox shell and set it aside. Now looking at our system first, to adjust the front air nozzle, we're going to grab the main cylinder and the front cylinder. I'm going to screw the front off. Looking here, you can see a brass ring that has a pinhole in it. Now you can use a tool to hold that pinhole in place while you grab the stainless steel part to unscrew that back. You're going to have to grab the threaded part, the stainless steel up here, to unscrew it to go forward. Then you can hold that part in place and screw down the brass ring to the base and tighten it down to hold that position. To send the nozzle back, we're going to reverse that process by moving the brass ring forward and then screwing it down. That's how you adjust the air nozzle forward and backwards. Then replace the front cylinder. To adjust the trigger engagement, of where the trigger hits, so you have less slack, go ahead and take your 2mm Allen key, put it in there, and you can unscrew this out. Once it's unscrewed out, you can tighten down this nut to the post and use your adjustable wrench by holding this to tighten it down to hold that in place. Now I already installed this, and I'll tell you guys here in a sec what I did. I know that this has to be screwed as far in as possible for myself. Tighten down that nut on the post. Now what I did is I replaced the original button head screw that came with it with a pan head screw. This pan head screw is quite a bit longer as well. The reason why I did this is because no matter how far out I adjusted this button head screw out, it still wouldn't engage with my trigger how I'd like it to, and there was a lot of slack in the trigger itself. Now, this may be too long for you. I'm using a M3 by 0.5 pitch, and it's 14mm long. So this may be too long for you, but for my system and what I'm using, it's working perfect for myself. Sometimes you got to fiddle with it a bit to get it engage the trigger itself, but this works for me. I'll put the item link in the description below, and yeah, so that you can replace that. You can try different sizes though. If this is unscrewed too far out, it starts to lean to the left and to the right. So that's also another good reason why to replace this with a longer one. To install the trigger, go ahead and grab the smaller part of the spring, put it through this little pinhole that you see right here. Feed this post through the spring and through the hole that you see here. Make sure that this part of the spring is in between the trigger itself. Now we're going to take our other piece. We're going to install this piece on here. We're going to feed the post through the hole on that side now. To do that, we have to hold the trigger in place. We're going to drop in the system. Make sure it drops in properly. Now while holding the trigger, if you let go, the spring's going to pop. While holding it, I'm going to take the other side of the gearbox shell and drop that into place. And then we got to line this up to fit those posts to the other side of the gearbox shell. I'm going to take my screws. I'm just going to put 2 in for now, just to kind of check my work. Get a Phillips screwdriver. Tighten these down. Just finger tight. After that, we're going to flip the system around and we're going to go ahead and check our engagement on our trigger and see what our trigger pull looks like now with the screw that I put on there. Alright. So far, actually a little more loose, so I'm going to go ahead and tighten that down a little bit more. Okay, so moment of truth. Working there. And it's working there. So if you notice, the trigger pull is very minute. There's no slack in the trigger itself. It's very firm. Now with the screw that I put on here, it's already reaching out so far that I almost have to squeeze the trigger slightly to start engaging the valve to fit this post in on this little trigger steer part. Now it's already engaging the trigger, but it's not firing the system. So for me it was perfect, and it allowed me to have such short of a trigger pull, which is really nothing. Alright, I'll go ahead and hook this up to air and show you guys what that looks like. Alright, now that we got everything installed and tuned, we're going to go ahead and connect it to our air. I'm using a Redline SFR regulator and a Ninja paintball tank. When you pressurize the system, this nozzle sets itself back. Make sure you're running enough air pressure through the system to make sure that's fully resetting back. The trigger pull does get a little more stiff once you connect it to air, but it's nothing that major. So let's go ahead and test our trigger pull now. There's no slack in the trigger at all. So yeah, everything's working good. It's all connected, and that's it. When you unpressurize the system, nozzle pops forward, and that's it. So thank you everyone for watching, and happy airsofting.